Hey guys, welcome. My name is Elise, and this is Read 'em and Weep. So, today we are going to be going over my recent reads. It's going to be my August and September wrap up. I have a total of, I think, 19 books that I read over these past couple months, which is actually not as much as I usually would read. I would say the entire first half of September, I was in a complete reading slump. For like ever. It felt like it was so long. So most of these books are actually from August. I read a lot in August, and then September hit. Kids went back to school, and I just stopped reading. So yeah, we're just gonna get into it. So the very first book that I read in August, was actually Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. 5 out of 5 stars. I loved this book. I loved it so much. So you have Ariadne and you have her sister Phaedra, and their dad is the king of Crete in Greece. Yeah, so Ariadne is the princess of Crete. And so basically their brother is like a mentor or something, some like monster, and their dad every year sacrifices like a group of people from Athens and like gives it to the mentor to like eat. And one day, so the boat comes with the people who are going to be eaten, and there was this like really handsome guy in there, and he's like not like the other ones. He's like really handsome and like really strong, and is just something different about him. And Ariadne, my girl, falls in love on sight. Never met this man. She sees him from afar, and she's sprung. She's very sprung on him. And this man turns out to be Theseus, the prince of Athens. And basically, he has this plan to kill the Minotaur and save his people. And Ariadne does this and goes against her father. And this is all like right in the beginning of the book. And she thinks that her and Theseus are going to be in love forever, and it doesn't work out that way. It doesn't work out that way. A lot of things happen. All I have to say with this book is men are like garbage in this book. All men in this book, if you see a man, he's trash. So I loved it. I thought it was such a good book. The next book that I read, yep, so we went from like a high and then we hit a low, because the next book I read after Ariadne was Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, and I rated this 1 star, and I hated every second of it, and I hated everybody in it, and I never want to talk about this book again. Frances, and Frances is friends with Bobby, and so Frances and Bobby somehow befriend this older woman, Melissa, and Frances decides to start having an affair with Melissa's husband, Nick, and that's pretty much the whole plot, because the rest of the book is literally just them cheating the entire time, and that's it. 1 star. Didn't like it. From there, after I read that, I read oh wait, also quickly, oh my goodness, Conversations with Friends I read for my Sally Rooney vlog that I did, where I read 2 of Sally Rooney's books. So I will go ahead and link that video down below if you want to watch it, where I read this and talked about it a little bit more in depth. So then I read If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy. This is a Cinderella retelling. It is part of a series. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what those series are called, where each book is written by a different author, but that's what this is. So this is the first one. This um, series is called a Meant to Be series, where they're all fairy tale retellings. So this one is Cinderella, and you have our girl Cindy, and she is plus size. She gets on this show called Before Midnight, which is very much like The Bachelor, where you have all these girls, and they're trying to like win the love of this person, and that just happens to be our like prince in this situation. And yeah, it's a really, really fun book. I rated it a 3.5. I really did enjoy myself, and I think the biggest thing that I enjoyed was like how like the retelling aspect of it was just like really, really fun. And I also really enjoyed a lot of the plus size representation throughout. I actually did read this one for a reading blog. I did a plus size reading blog. So I will also link that one down below, because if you want to hear me talk a little bit more about this one in depth as well. The next thing I read was Make a Scene by Mimi Grace. This, I think it's independently published, but this is a romance. It is kind of like a fake dating situation. So you have, I think her name is Retta, and she owns a bakery, and she ends up fake dating the man who owns a gym, or like a boxing gym, next door to her bakery. This one, it was a very cute book, but it honestly was not really that memorable at all. So I did give it a 3. If you are just looking for kind of like a good time, something that's entertaining, and you like fake dating, I would suggest reading this book. It was pretty good. So the next book that I read was Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman. This is a short novella following Nick and Charlie from the Heartstopper series. This one, I rated this a 5 stars. It was really, really good. It was like so hard for me to like watch them, not necessarily getting along, like kind of having some conflict. You have Nick and Charlie, and they are really kind of deciding their futures, and like as far as where they're gonna go for like school, like college and stuff like that. And you see some like miscommunication and things like that in here. It's just a short read. Okay, so the next book that I read was Normal People by Sally Rooney. Once again, I read this for my Sally Rooney vlog. Actually, I rated this a 2 star. And this one you have Connell and Marianne, and they kind of grew up together. I think Connell's mom worked for Marianne's family. Honestly, I don't really remember very much about this. Um, at all. But yeah, so if you want to hear my more thoughts about this, because I do talk about it more in my vlog, you can go ahead and watch that. The next book that I read is Savvy Sheldon Feels Good as Hell by Taj McCoy. I read this for my plus size romance reading vlog. I loved this book. It was so good. I rated it 4 stars. It honestly shocked me. It shocked me because I really wasn't expecting much. Let me put it down. I really wasn't expecting much from that book, and I am like so shocked at how great it was. You have Savvy here, and then she has this like trash boyfriend who tells her that she'd like let herself go and put on weight, and he's like so rude, and he ends up like breaking up with her, and she sets off initially to kind of get this like revenge body sort of thing, and it really kind of evolves more into like Savvy learning so much about herself. We have Spencer here, who is just so sweet, too Savvy, and so understanding and so caring. And honestly, this book is just like so good. It definitely like blew me away and blew all of my expectations away, because I randomly just picked this up off of Amazon because it recommended it to me and I liked the cover, and I really didn't have any expectations, especially because that's a debut novel. So I am so excited to see what this author has in store for us. So the next thing I read The Island by Adrian McKenty. This one is like a thriller on an island, and it takes place, I think, off of like Australia or something. I don't, this one was wild. This one was wild. I'm not like a huge thriller reader, but I had read The Chain a couple years back. And so when I saw this one, I was like, oh, I you know, I like The Chain. I want to try this one. I rated it 4 stars. I was thoroughly thrilled the entire time. It's like this family who goes on vacation um, to I think it's Australia. This family that goes on vacation, and they get offered this chance to like go over to like this private island, and they go over across like the ferry to this like private island to get some pictures and see some animals and stuff like that, and things go wrong. Things go wrong. They go left real quick. I did enjoy it a lot. um yeah. And then I read Zenni by Rebecca Weatherspoon, and this is a companion novel to Rafe, which is like about a male nanny. But this one is about a marriage of convenience, I guess. You have Zenni, and so Zenni's aunt has passed away and has left Zenni her house and like a very large inheritance. And then you have Mason, and Mason, I guess Zenni's aunt was like Mason's mentor, and he really loved her and looked up to her. And so she has also left him a little bit of money as well. The catch is that she didn't tell anybody. It was that they were gonna have to get married in order to get this money and inheritance. So that's what they do. I rated it 3 stars. I did really enjoy it. So I did rate this 3 stars. I did very much enjoy it though. So the next book that I read was actually The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. I have been reading this book for like ever. It took me so long to get through. It took me months and months and months to get through it. But that is the sequel to The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And this is a fantasy, this is a kind of like a very war fantasy, where you have our main character. Ren, who in the first book you see her really trying to get into, is it Sinagard? This really prestigious military academy. And she goes, and eventually, while she's there, war actually does break out. And so you are really following what happens after, everything that happened in the first book as far as the war, and, following up with that. You are seeing some of the aftermath of some of the characters and what they went through. It's a lot. It's heavy. It's very like dark, and some places you're really talking a lot about like death and grief. You have our character Ren, who is really grieving for the loss of someone that happened in the first book, and she's also really struggling with addiction. And I do just want to say that the Poppy War in itself is based off of a very real war that took place. It is based in China, and there are tons of books that talk about like the real war and what really happened. The one that I would recommend would be like the Rape of Nanking. I will say with that one, mind your own mental health. I did try reading that book, and I had to stop because it was definitely affecting how I was feeling and my own mental health, and I had to not finish that book just for my own well-being. But from what I did read, it offered a lot of like context and a lot of information as to what happened. But what happened is just so devastating that I just could not. I could not. But yeah, so this one I did rate a 4 star. So the next book that I read was Stuck with You by Ali Hazelwood. This is the second book in her STEMinist series. It is a short little novella, so I don't want to give you too much information. But this one we're following Sadie. So the STEMinist series, it's a group of 3 friends who are all scientists, and so each book is following a different friend. This one, it is kind of more of a rivals to lovers romance with a little bit of like close proximity, because you have a girl Sadie who gets stuck in an elevator with her rival who works in the same building as her. So I don't want to give too much because it is such a short novella. After that, then I read Written in the Stars by Alexandra Bellefleur, I think is how you say that. So this one is a um like a sapphic retelling of Pride and Prejudice. And so you have Darcy and you have Elle, and they have been set up on a blind date that does not go well. It is a terrible first impression, terrible first date. They are like complete opposites of each other, but they decide that because they keep getting set up on dates, that they are just going to fake date each other to kind of get everyone else kind of off of their backs a little bit. So this is a fake dating um, romance, and it is so cute. It's so good. And I rated it 4 stars. And then after that, I read Below Zero by Ali Hazelwood. This is the third book in the STEMinist series. And this one we are following Hannah. And this is also a kind of like a rivals to lovers romance. And I rated this one 4 stars. I thought it was great. And I do just want to give an honorable mention to the first book in the series I read at the end of July, and that is Under One Roof. Yeah, I would say overall the 3 novellas are all great, and I would highly recommend them all. And I gave Under One Roof, I gave that 5 stars. I don't know if I said that. And then, so after Below Zero, I read Fake It Till You Bake It. I follow one of my favorite YouTubers, Lily Reads, has a book club that she does. So Fake It Till You Bake It was the pick for August. It was the pick for August. And so I read Fake It Till You Bake It. It is by Jamie Wesley. So this one is about Jada, who she is kind of like a reality TV show star. She was on a dating show where she turned down the guy, and so now a lot of people are not liking her. And she ends up working at a bakery that is owned by a football player, Donovan. A little bit random. This one I really wasn't a fan of. I do really like football romances, which is kind of why I went into this. There's a few football romances that I've read in the past that I loved. But this one was like, it was different. There was no football mentioned. It was weird. It was a little all over the place. It wasn't terrible. which is why I rated it 2 stars. It definitely was semi enjoyable. And once again, I feel like this one also had some pretty good um, smutty scenes in them, which is ultimately why I'm going to a romance. Those are all of the books that I read in August, and so now let's get into the books that I read in September. There are definitely way less here. So the first book that I read in September was The Hookup Plan by Farah Rakan. This is the third and I think final book in this series. The first one being the Boyfriend Project, and the second one being the Dating Playbook. And this one we are following London, who is a surgeon, and London goes to a what are those things called? A school reunion, and she sees her old like school rival, and decides on that night that they're gonna kind of like hook up a little bit. They're gonna just have some fun because she's like, I don't have to see you again, not I don't have to see you no more. She doesn't have to see him anymore, and she kind of just wants something, a hookup, with no strings attached. And so they hook up. And then, she goes into work on Monday, and guess who's in the office? Mr. Drew here is in the office. She works for the like county hospital, and they are in the middle of possibly turning it more into a private hospital and selling it. And I think Drew owns like a consulting firm or something. So he's going to be helping them out and kind of getting everything, helping them out with that process. It's so good. This one's good. I loved it. I rated it a 4-star. It's not my favorite in the series. My favorite one was definitely the second book. But this one was so good. It was great. The next book that I read was Yinka, Where Is Your Husband by Lizzie Domilola Blackburn. I think that's how you say that. Once again, this is for the Lily Reads book club. I will link her channel down below. I rated this a 3-star. This is a kind of like a British Nigerian novel where you have Yinka here, who is I think she's in her 30s, kind of getting older, and her family is just constantly putting so much pressure on her to find a husband. And it is made worse when her cousin, I think it's her cousin, gets engaged. I think at this point, like, Yinka's younger sister is married and having a baby. Now her cousin's getting engaged, and their family is just putting so much pressure on her to get married. It was good. I really did enjoy it. Like I said, I rated it a 3-star. There was a lot of good like talk in here about like hair, because Yinka wears her hair more in a natural way, and her family doesn't necessarily like that, and they feel like she should be wearing like her hair more straightened and things like that. So, and also like Yinka being a darker skinned woman and always feeling like less than in some, maybe compared to like some lighter women. Yinka is always like comparing herself to everyone. Yeah, it was a really good book. I did very much enjoy it. Okay, so the next book that I read in September, and you were getting a little bit of a sneak peek here because I'm actually read this one for a vlog that will be out next week, is The Silver Star by Jeanette Walls. I don't want to give away too much information about this, but in this one you are following Bean and her sister Liz, and one day their mom kind of just ups and walks out and leaves them to pretty much fend for themselves. And they end up taking the bus, the Greyhound bus from California all the way to Virginia to go stay with their uncle. And yeah, I ended up rating this one. Should I tell you? Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. I ended up rating this one a 2-star. So yeah, if you want to hear more of my thoughts on this and some other books, stay tuned for my reading vlog that's coming out next week. And lastly, the last thing that I read in September was Charming as a Verb by Ben Phillip. I rated this one four a 4-star. In this one, we're following Halty. He is this really, smart kid. He is the son of immigrants. And he is trying to, get into the college of his dreams, which I think was Columbia. He's trying to get into the college of his dreams. He owns this like dog walking business where he's always like walking everybody's dogs to make money and stuff like that. Oh. And then you have Corinne, who lives in the same building as him, and she is really not that popular, but she's like extremely smart. And one day she finds out some information about his little dog walking business and basically blackmails him into spending time with her, taking her to parties because she wants to be more popular and kind of make more friends and stuff like that. So he ends up doing that, and he's just like, oh my goodness, like she's so uncool. And eventually they end up kind of starting to fall for each other. And it is honestly super cute. It is so cute. It's so hard to read books like this when you see like young people really putting so much pressure on themselves to get into like these really prestigious colleges that, you know, is really hard to see that, to see like how stressful those times are, because I didn't try to get into like Columbia or anything like that, but I definitely remember like stressing out over college applications. And it's just so hard to like watch that. um but I really did enjoy this book. It was so cute and I rated it a 4. And that is all that I read. Those are all 19 books that I read in August and September. Yeah. So I feel like I have been talking forever. I feel like I've been talking forever. That was so much. I don't know if I'm going to wait again and do another 2 months together, or if I'm just gonna do like 1 month, because that was a lot of talking, and a lot of books. So yeah, we'll see. But anyways, you guys, that is the end of this video. Stay tuned. Like I said, I will be putting out a reading vlog next week that I'm currently working on. And in the meantime, if you would like to see another video from me, you can go check out my last posted video. I did a really, really fun TBR game that I made. Super fun. It is a try not to sing your TBR challenge game, and I had just such a blast. But yeah, so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, leave a comment, let me know what you read, let me know if you read any of these. I would love to know all of your thoughts. And also, don't forget to subscribe if you would like to see more videos from me. So yeah, bye.